The galactic science assembly prided itself on precision. Across the stars, its simulations were considered flawless mathematical artistry capable of predicting survival rates for any species in any environment. Their crowning achievement was the Deathworld simulator, a program so complex that entire star systems of processors were required to run it. No one, not even the engineers who built it, dared to question the rating scale. A Class 10 Deathworld was considered uninhabitable. A Class 15 Deathworld was theoretical, the kind of place where existence itself would be a form of torture. And yet, the humans came. They had joined the assembly only decades prior, a young species still earning its place among the ancient powers. Curious, reckless, and disturbingly cheerful, humans had already unsettled their peers with stories of their own homeworld. Earth, according to the Assembly's rating, was a Class 13 Deathworld. It was impossible. By every standard model, no species should have emerged from such a place, let alone thrived. But humans were stubborn proof of the exception. So when the Assembly unveiled their newest Class 15 simulation, they expected polite interest at best. Instead, the humans volunteered to test it. The chamber was a marvel, a sphere of shifting landscapes projected around the participants. Inside, time accelerated, condensing years of survival into hours. Alien observers gathered in tiers, their translucent hides, scaled plates, and feathered crests glittering under the chamber's light. "Remember," said Director Kralex, her many eyes narrowing as she addressed the human team, "this is not a challenge. The purpose is analysis. No species has ever lasted more than 12 seconds in a Class 15 environment. You may withdraw at any time." The humans grinned. One of them, Lieutenant Vega, a wiry woman with a scar cutting across her cheek, adjusted her suit straps. 12 seconds, huh? Sounds like a warm-up. The observers hissed and murmured, their disbelief echoing around the hall. Kralex chittered nervously. She activated the chamber. The humans vanished into the simulation. The first landscape unfolded like a nightmare. The air itself was acidic, searing lungs with every breath. The ground pulsed, alive with parasites that burrowed through flesh. Predators the size of transport ships stalked the horizon, their hides resistant to fire, plasma, and kinetic weaponry. Any species should have died instantly, but not the humans. They improvised. They tied cloth into makeshift filters. They learned which parasites could be eaten for nutrition and which could be repelled with smoke. They hurled rocks, built spears, and when the ship-sized predators charged, they lured them into fighting each other. Hours passed. Days in simulation time. The observers leaned forward, their disbelief turning into horrified fascination. Kralex's aides reported data in frantic whispers. "They've stabilized a camp, Director. They're cataloging edible species. One of them oh stars. One of them is riding a predator." Inside the simulation, Vega clung to the spiny ridge of a beast that should have been unrideable, whooping as it thrashed. Her teammates cheered. The observers shuddered. By the second phase, the simulation adjusted. Storms of molten glass rained from the skies. Gravity shifted erratically, crushing and releasing with bone-snapping force. The humans adapted again. They built shelters from predator bones, carved sleds to ride down rivers of molten debris, and even began joking with each other. When one storm knocked their camp flat, a human named Patel laughed. "Better than a camping trip in the Rockies." The assembly members exchanged worried glances. None of them knew what a Rockies was, but it sounded terrifying. Days stretched into weeks. Other species would have begged for mercy, clawed at the chamber walls, or lost their minds. But the humans were thriving. Worse, they were enjoying themselves. They began inventing games, races across the unstable terrain, contests to see who could wrestle predators into submission, competitions over who could find the weirdest edible fungus. Vega, standing on the ribcage of a beast they'd slain, shouted into the alien sky, "Is this all you've got?" Her words echoed through the chamber speakers. The audience froze. At last, Kralex intervened. With a heavy claw, she terminated the simulation. The humans were pulled out, grinning, battered but exhilarated. They blinked in the real light of the assembly chamber, sweat dripping from their brows. Vega stretched her arms overhead, muscles aching. "Well," she said, "that was fun. What's next?" The chamber went silent. Kralek stepped forward slowly, her mandibles trembling. "You survived a Class 15 Deathworld." "Survived?" Vega smirked. "Director, we lived. Your simulation was impressive, but honestly..." She glanced at her team, all of whom were nodding eagerly. "We were hoping for something harder." The words rippled through the assembly like a shockwave. Dozens of species recoiled, feathers ruffling, scales tightening, bioluminescent skin flickering in panic. Kralex nearly dropped her datapad. "Harder? There is nothing beyond Class 15. It is the absolute boundary of survivability. It is meant to be impossible." Vega tilted her head. "So was Earth. Yet here we are." The humans laughed, clapped each other on the backs, and walked out of the chamber as if returning from a casual hike. In the stunned silence that followed, the assembly descended into chaos. "If they request harder," one counselor whispered, "what happens when they get it?" "They don't need to get it," another replied grimly. "They'll make it. They'll push beyond what should exist. And if they can survive that..." A hush fell across the chamber. The implications were clear. Humans weren't just survivors. They weren't just anomalies. They were explorers of the impossible.